Stand barren here, founder of Christ's true light. Isaiah 9. Nevertheless, there'll be no more gloom for those who are in darkness, or who are in distress. In the past, he humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the future, he will honor Galilee of the nations by the way of the sea beyond the Jordan. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. I got 3% life on my phone battery. This is actually the topic of my last vlog, Matthew 4:12 through 7. I mentioned Matthew 4:12 through 7. It's not gonna hold there anyway, so got the Wycliffe on that one though. 12 through 7. Not 12 through 7. 12 through 17. Okay, Matthew 4:12 through 17. In verse 15 he quotes it. But I'm going to read it too. When Jesus heard that John had been put in prison, he withdrew to Galilee, leaving Nazareth. He went and lived in Capernaum, which was by the lake in the area of Zebulun and Naphtali, to fulfill what was through the prophet Isaiah. Land of Zebulun and land of Naphtali, the way of the sea beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people living in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadows of death, a light has dawned. And this one says, in the deep darkness, a light has dawned. Okay, notice it says shadow in the land of the shadow of death. People walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the deep darkness, a light has dawned. In the spiritual realm and outside, as you're walking this planet, this is what happens to all of us. There is a light inside of you that's shining. Their mission is to dim that light. They can't remove it completely. The darkness has not overcome it. Not overcome it. They can't remove it completely because it's what keeps you breathing. Cannot overpower it, but can dim it. And what do I mean by that? Fill it with smoke and a symbolism. Not sure if that's quite the right symbolism to use, but cut it off, pluck it out. They get in there and they diminish the light because they're dark. They diminish it. People, the land of the shadow. What did it say? Shadow. Shadow. Deep darkness, the light has dawned. This one says, shadow of death. Shadow of death. All right. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. All right. So you're walking through a valley of death. This is like the valley of dry bones that Ezekiel saw. The dry bones. Okay. They are everywhere and they can't see your human flesh. Do you know what they see? They see a light. Bright light. They're in the realm of the dead. They're not in our realm, they're in that realm. And they see a light. That's what they're looking at inside of you. Now, take that to modern terms today. They are making their way through to this side. How are they doing that? Through technology, artificial intelligence. If you're new, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Revelation 13, 14 through 15. because of the signs of the power, because of the signs, it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast, to deceive the inhabitants of the earth. It ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast, AI, who was wounded by the sword, but was not slain. So I've said it. This is just Jesus' time. He was wounded, but he was not slain. That man of sin, that viper, that Satan, that beast. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast. The word breath means spirit or air. You get a spirit. Ezekiel 37, with the prophecy of the robots, call from the four winds so that they may enter and put a breath in you, into this vast army. The vast army is receiving a breath. Okay, call from the four winds. The four winds will become a breath inside this vast army. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image, AI, so that the image could speak and cause all who refuse to worship the image to be killed. AI can speak to us. Now, it's coming through humanoid robots. Humanoid robots. Ezekiel 37. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. They rejoice before you as people rejoice at the harvest, as warriors rejoice when dividing the plunder. For as in the days of Midian's defeat, you have shattered the yoke that burdens them, the bar across their shoulders, the rod of their oppressor. So I think about Ezekiel, two rods. Ezekiel 37, I've mentioned this one. I can't say it right now. Every warrior's boot used in battle, every garment rolled in blood. I had a dream last night about a battlefield. I did have a dream last night about a battlefield. And I can't remember if I was shot. I think I was. I know I was picking flowers, vineyard. But there was one guy who was like shot in his neck. He was gushing blood. We were on the phone. I was holding a towel. This is last night's dream. I don't see any propheticness in it other than the flowers. I see the flowers. It's about the only thing I see. And being in a war. But as the guy was dying, we realized that the ambulance was not going to make it. It's just a dream, okay? And I just looked at him and I said, "Pray with me." And he had that look of realization, like that's exactly what I need to be doing right now. His fear went away, no longer panicking, and he realized she's right. That's what I need to be doing right now. And so we prayed, and that's what I woke up to. Weird dream. Every warrior's boot used in battle, every garment rolled up in blood, will be destined for burning, will be fuel for the fire. For to use a child, for to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. Talking about the Emmanuel star that Jesus, this Jesus takes on this prophecy. He will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. I have said this before. It's not that we're wrong, the Christian community. It's like there's a puzzle piece that's missing. Just a puzzle piece that's missing from the doctrines. We have 49,999. Definitely that's the number. False doctrines, because there can only be one that's true. But there's 45,000. And they all have different doctrines. If each one of those doctrines put in this one puzzle piece, then all of their different doctrines could be correct. Because you're all striving, but you're missing one thing that matters more to him than anything. You're missing the word, the audible word, the knowledge of him. Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. This is important too, I think I should say. I understand the concept of forgiving sins because I am a sinner and I still dream of flying. I had that dream with the snake. I had the dream last night being in a war field picking up flowers. Our sins are forgiven. They can be. But there is sin that you don't see, and that's the other portion, I guess. And that's technology, cosmetics, food industry. Of the greatness of his government and peace, there will be no end. Cosmetics. Christ lives in all the animals. He put living souls in those animals, just like he put a living soul in us. This version right here, this one does not say that. There's no living soul inside the creation of the animals in this Bible. Not there. WYC, First English Translation, it says it clear as day. He put a living soul. WYC, the very first English translation, he put a living soul in those animals. That living soul in those animals is Christ. And our animals are suffering for cosmetic testing, food industry, science, random testing, whatever they want to do to them, medicine testing, chemical testing, household chemicals, bleach, pine sol, the stuff you spray in your home, air fresheners, Glade. They want to make sure that you can breathe it in before they sell it to you. They test it on the animals first. Glade air fresheners. I think the number was, it's a high number. Hang on. I have, in my battery's down to 2% now, so I can't do the full depth research, but I asked it, what's the percentage of household appliances and or chemicals tested on, I asked AI that, and she said there's no exact figure, but it says a significant portion of household animals are still being tested on animals, while some sources claiming that a majority of brands still use animal testing for their products, particularly in regions where it's not strictly prohibited by law. It is strictly not prohibited by law in America. I don't know if you can see that. Elon Musk's company has murdered over, it's not that much, like 1,500. I did a study on that. Animals, cats, mice, dogs, cats. I love cats. There's a picture of that one cat on Technology One. It took me about 14 times to see that before I stopped crying at the image. Of the greatness of his government and peace, there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it. Makeup. They'll make sure your face don't break out, probably, I know, before they sell it to you. I had to hold my tongue one time. This Christian lady in a church. There's like, if you're a woman, you know what I'm talking about. There's full coverage, and there's not full coverage. This lady was like above and beyond full coverage. She kind of did okay. I'm just like, it looked like, sometimes you look at it and it's like, that's way too much full coverage. It looks like it's been painted on. Okay. And she was reprimanding me. And I had to hold my tongue about how much money was on her face. It was about Red Bull. I sometimes drink Red Bull, and Red Bull is made by the beer companies. A fallen one, too. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it. Will read with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. The Lord has sent a message against Jacob. It will fall on Israel. All the people will know it. Ephraim, if you've been following me up to now, Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria who say with pride, pride's not that great to have. You can have pride for your children, but you shouldn't have pride for yourself. Who say with pride and arrogance of heart, Ephraim, the bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with dressed stone. The fig trees have been felled, but we will replace them with cedars. But the Lord has strengthened Rezin's foes against them and has spurred their enemies on. Arameans from the east and Philistines from the west have devoured Israel with an open mouth. Yet for all this his anger is not turned away. His hand is still upraised. God will send a plague. He will not send somebody inside town to murder. He didn't tell Moses or Aaron to go in there and fight Pharaoh. He told him to go speak to him. And I will show my works. Don't need you to fight a battle. And he will send a plague. He sends storms. He sends hurricanes. We forget this. We forget that he is the one who sends them. We counteract them and hide from them with Weather Channel stuff. He's hitting you for a reason. New Orleans was hit for a reason. Katrina, it was hit for a reason. COVID was sent for a reason. He will send plagues. He will send tsunamis. He will send hurricanes. He will send tornadoes. He will send the destruction through his earth. He's in control of all of that. Satan sends the person in there with a gun, with a sword. Thou shalt not murder. God will kill you by plague as a warning. He will send a mass flood. Mother Nature will do that. He will send Mother Nature. Mother Nature. He female characteristics, will send a plague of vipers. Mother Nature will do that. We'll send a swarm of ladybugs, locusts, frogs. Problem is, when that tornado comes and that hurricane comes, you don't see God's hand in it anymore. And you forgot. That's what he does. Every one of them was sent by God. He stopped the rain, brought the rain. I know where I'm going. Just picking flowers in that vineyard. The Lord has sent a message against Jacob. It will fall on Israel. All the people will know it. Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria. I just read all this. The people have not returned to him who struck them, nor have they sought the Lord Almighty. So the Lord will cut off from Israel both head and tail, both palm branches and reed in a single day. The elders and dignitaries are the head. The prophets who teach lies are the tails. So this means a prophet can actually tell a lie, right? False prophets. So if they're a false prophet, where are they receiving their word? From the false god. Those who guide this people mislead them. Murder thy prophet. Whole level of complication I don't want to get into right now. I need more followers before I pick up on that. Those who guide this people mislead them, and those who are guided are led astray. Therefore the Lord will take no pleasure in the young men, nor will he pity the fatherless and widows. For everyone is ungodly and wicked. Every mouth speaks folly. What I'm saying is, as far as I can tell through scripture, Jesus was the first person to call out that viper. I talk about vipers and stuff like that throughout. I talk about sin throughout. But as far as I can tell, Jesus was the first one to actually recognize a word that was not from God. To recognize it. You hear that word? Recognize. That's very important piece, okay? That word, recognize. When Satan spoke to him, he realized, you're not God. When Satan spoke to me, I knew instantly, you're not God. I know you're not God. God would never tell me to put a bullet in my sleeping boyfriend's head. God would never tell me to put a bullet in my head. Just what I said for you people who think I'm just a Bible thumper. I said, I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't cuss anymore. I make it a point. I should probably take that out. Sometimes I get brave and bold, but I'm trying to be real. Okay? I'm trying to be a real, transparent person. That is exactly what I said. Living in my sin. Pastor Stephen Furtick said it on stage one time, and I thought, yes, when he did, I said, oh man, I love this pastor. He said, some of y'all gonna be pissed off. That's what he said on stage, and I thought, he probably went a lot of people over just by saying that. And probably turned a lot of people away. But then he said, y'all know that's real. But what his message was like important. He ain't just cussing, okay? And that was important too, because that's what I said. I was in the midst of hell. I was face to face with Satan. And I didn't know he was Satan. I didn't know he was. You can't get no worse than that on this world. You are in face to face with Satan. Like you see my face. Imagine Satan being right there, only here in front of you. The real one. not a metaphor, the real one. That was brave, is what it was. Don't matter what I said to him. I didn't believe him. Neither did Jesus. Surely the wickedness burns like a fire. It consumes briars and thorns. It sets it ablaze, or sets the forest thickets ablaze, so that it rolls upwards in a column of smoke. By the wrath of the Lord Almighty, the land will be scorched, and the people will be fueled for the fire. They will not spare one another. On the right they will devour, they will still be hungry. On the left they will eat, but they will not be satisfied. They will feed on the flesh of their own offspring. That sounds gross, doesn't it? How is that possible? Ancestors. Ancestor. Those who have died, okay, they become demons. You die, you become an angel or a demon. You become Illuminati for darkness, Illuminati in here. You join a kingdom. You join a body when you die. Which body you enter into after death depends on your life right here. And whether you know him or not, and if you are striving for him. Tell me what Christian in the world doesn't believe that. See how they got it right? Reputation for being a lot. They're missing something. Where's the kingdom? Technology. Profits. Mental health. Pharmakia. Their reputation is alive. I'm not taking away anything from what they teach on how to live godly lives, to strive to stay away from sin, to live a life without sin. They got that message. So they will devour their young, their own children, the flesh of their offspring. Those demons, they are your ancestors. They're your ancestors. And they are devouring you and causing you to sin. They are that darkness that sees that light in you. Those ancestors of lost souls. Those dry bones in Ezekiel 37. The lost ones of Israel. The ones who were cut off, whose hope had been cut off. They've been cut off. Their hope is gone. That's Ezekiel 37. Israel, God's people cut off, whose hope is gone. They are the dry bones. They are demons from the four winds, the arid places that enters into our Christ's home that we have to pluck out and cut off. They eat our flesh. They get in us. That thorn, they become a thorn in our flesh. They eat our flesh. They're our ancestors. And they are trying to kill us spiritually. Manasseh will feed on Ephraim. Ephraim on Manasseh, brothers. Together they will turn against Judah. Yet for all this, his anger is not turned away. His hand is still upraised. Please share it. I'm not an eloquent speaker, I know. But my message is the truth. Please share it every single day that goes by. Another person, no, not another. Every single day, 2,200 souls are taken to suicide because Satan is telling them to murder themselves. Throw yourself down. 2,200 souls is one to Satan every single day. I really need you to start sharing my videos. Please. Thank you.